Good morning. It's day 2 here at the World Economic Forum's annual meeting, and we're kicking it off with none other than Carlos Ghosn, the CEO of Nissan and the head of the Renault-Nissan Alliance. Mr. Ghosn, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us on CNBC TV 18. What do you make of the global economy in 2014?
Better, slightly better. I don't think anybody is foreseeing for the moment anything that's going to pull us down. We see the emerging markets coming back this year after a disappointing year 2013, and a continuous recovery into the other markets, particularly in Europe. US should be doing well. Japan also is on the right trend. So 2014 should be a good year.
Okay, great. That's very positive to begin with. What do you make of North America? That's had a spectacular year last year. But I did read in one of your early interviews this year that you're expecting that market to peak off a bit?
No, I think what we're seeing in the United States particularly, that, you know, the level of sales in the US of cars has still not recovered before crisis. Yeah, exactly. So we have had a strong recovery, but we're still below the level where we were before. So I think when we're going to be reaching this level, which we hope will be the case next year, there's going to be some kind of slower growth, more moderate growth in the US.
Okay, I'm going to use you to try and understand what's happening with the European economy. It does seem to be at a turning point, and one that brings it back onto the growth track. How sustainable is that going to be for 2014? Because Europe continues to be a worry.
Yeah, well, in Europe, we have had a 25 to 30% decrease of the car sales between 2008 and 2013. So this is the first time we see some kind of recovery. It's not going to be very strong. We're talking about 1% of increase in 2014 compared to 2013. So we are way down compared to what it was in 2007. So it's very reasonable to think that we're going to have a slow recovery in Europe. The numbers are not going to be tremendous, but having a 1 to 3% growth between now and 3-4 years from now is a very reasonable scenario.
But that's the macro economy. What about car sales? They've been in a difficult spot as well.
I think the car sales are going to follow the macroeconomy, because there is a strong correlation between car sales and consumer confidence. And for the first time, we're seeing the numbers of consumer confidence moving slowly up in Europe. That's why we're confident that the recovery of the economy in Europe will be supported by the recovery of the sales of the car sales, but don't expect any miracle. It's not going to be a very strong recovery like the one we've seen in the United States.
Before I come to India, I want to ask a quick question about Japan. What's your take on Abenomics and what that's doing for the Japanese economy?
Look, Abenomics is in my opinion, the most serious approach to get Japan out of deflation by not attacking the tactical problems that Japan is facing, but also some of the structural problems. So I think the Prime Minister Abe deserves a lot of support from society, because the plan is very coherent. I don't think the question is it going to be successful? It is going to be successful. The question is how successful it's going to be, because the measures he's taking have a lot of potential. I hope that we're going to be extremely greedy into getting as much of this potential to work for Japan as possible.
How much weaker is the yen going to get?
No, I don't think I think the yen now is in good territory. 104, 105 is a very reasonable level. I'm not personally. I don't think we're going to have a lot of variation on the yen. Anyway, I'm not sure from now on it corresponds to a need for Japan. But I think everything he's doing in terms of gender parity, more diversity, helping trade, a better trade agreement between Japan and other countries, are really going to induce a lot of good change for Japan.
Are you disappointed with India? It's been very difficult last year for auto sales, and broadly speaking, many foreign investors are disappointed with the fact that the country hasn't capitalized on the momentum it had a few years ago.
You're right. I think 2013 has been a disappointing year for all the industry in India, but I think we all think that 2014 should be a year of a slow recovery from a disappointing year 2013. But our optimism about the potential of India is intact. I want to tell you that. That means when you look at the level of motorization of the Indian of countries. We're still below 100 cars per 1,000 inhabitant residents in India. While, for example, in country like Brazil, you're already at 200. In Russia, you are at 300. In China, you're already moving at 150. India is going to take off. There is no doubt about it. And we hope that 2014 is going to be the first sign of the recovery, and then we'll move up from here.
What are Renault-Nissan's plans for 2014? I know that you're pinning much of your hopes for Nissan on the launch of the Datsun. You're personally supervising that one. As for the Renault, well, the Duster's done very well. What can we expect this year in terms of new models, cars, and what are your sales targets?
You're going to see a lot of new products coming from Renault and Nissan. We obviously will move up in terms of market share because we're starting from a very low level.
Yeah,
exactly. We are today practically insignificant in the Indian market. So there is not such a merit to increase in terms of market share. It's going to happen. But our target, that means our plans, is to target the lines should have 10% market share on the Indian market. It's going to be a long road. But I want to tell you, this explains the investments we're doing, not only in terms of capacity, but in terms of technology. We have a large technical center. So you can expect us to continue to pour in technologies, new cars, until we reach this level of 10%, which would be our natural milestone. Why 10%? Because that's what we have globally. We represent on the global market 10% of the sales. There is no reasons that in India it won't be the case.
How long will you take to get there, and how much money will you have to put in to get there?
A few years. But anyway, you know, in business you put money only because you know that there is a return, and we are very optimistic about it.
Are you still, because I've heard estimates between 2.5 to 5 billion over the next 5 years, and I'm wondering, what do you have targeted in terms of the investments you've got lined up for India?
Look, today we have a large plant in Chennai, which is going to be full very soon. We're cooperating with Ashok Leyland also, as you know. So you can expect, we are increasing our technical center, which is also based in Chennai. You can expect more capacity and more cars. I can't tell you more before the decisions are being made.
Okay, one quick question about your alliances in India. The Mahindra one, of course, as we've spoken about the last few years, has fallen off. Are you interested in buying a stake, an equity stake in Ashok Leyland? Because that's been part of, sort of the rumor going around on the street. And secondly, do you regret the Bajaj RE60 quadricycle did not happen with you?
No, look, when you move to India, you cannot be in regret. It's as you know, it's a very sophisticated country. It's a very sophisticated market, and you have to accept that you're going to have a lot of tentative. Not all of them are going to be successful. As long as you're learning from them, you're moving into the right direction. So I wouldn't say that our relationship with Mahindra or Bajaj were not helpful. It helps us understand India and probably be successful with our relationship with Ashok Leyland. There is no discussion about a stake ownership with Ashok Leyland. But this being said, our cooperation is going so well, we don't need, something like this in order to foster better relationships. So it's based on mutual interest and a very good understanding.
The reason why I ask is they seem to be cutting back on investment to service a huge debt pile. So we're wondering if you're going to come in and help capitalize to some extent.
There was absolutely no request from their part, I can tell you. And again, we're counting on them continue to be a very solid partner.
All right, I've got to let you go. I know you've got lots of interviews lined up. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good Davos.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.